This video was sponsored by Tokyo Treat and Sakura Co. So did you just get yourself a Gundam kit, or are you thinking about getting one, but you don't know exactly what you need to build it? All the info out there and all the differing opinions can be enough to make your head spin. Well, worry no longer, you're in the right place. Whether you're on a budget or ready to splash out, I'm about to tell you exactly what you need. This right here is Mecha Gaikotsu's no BS guide to beginner Gundam tools. First off, what exactly is inside a Gunpla box? Plastic. That's it. Sometimes there's stickers, sometimes there's little decals, but it is just a box of plastic on runners. There are no included tools, no included paint, no included glue. So the question really is, how do you go from this to that? Introducing the Nipper, the only tool for Gunpla you actually need. So much so that Bandai says it on the side of the box. Now this might seem simple at first glance, but this could potentially be the first big mistake you could make with your Gunpla build. I remember a few years ago the Gunpla internets absolutely went ablaze with the fact that PewDiePie was building a Gunpla live on stream. I clicked on it, I wanted to see, that's pretty cool, until I saw what he was building it with. That is a wire cutter. Do not make that mistake. It is so important the Nipper you choose is for plastic models, because if you don't, it will do this. And that means your Gundam model kit is gonna look like it has the pox. It's gonna have these little gouges all over the place. So in order to make sure this doesn't happen, you need to pick the right Nipper. Nippers for plastic models look like this. They're triangular towards the top and they've got fairly thin blades, which lessen the damage done to the plastic. If you're starting out, you want yourself a general use nipper, basically one that has a blade on both sides. This can cut through thick plastic, thin plastic, but still won't leave too many marks. A good plastic model nipper need not be expensive, and if you do get yourself a quality nipper, it will last you for hundreds if not thousands of kits, so it's definitely worth getting one that is good. And like I said, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be expensive. I've used a few, and when it comes to some recommendations that don't break the bank, number one for me would be the Tamiya Modeling Side Cutter number 93, also known as the Tamiya 74093. It's got an incredibly comfortable handle, very important because your hands will get tired or crampy if you're going for long build periods, and the blade is great. I don't have one anymore, but when mine eventually broke down, I stole the handle off it for using on another nipper. It's that comfy. It's also only around $9, so totally worth it. Another fantastic option is the God Hand GHPN 125. This is what I use right now for thicker plastic. Once again, comfy, great quality, and will last forever. If you want to stick with Bandai's tools for Bandai's model kits, then Bandai's build-up nipper is decent. It's more expensive than the other two, it's a little bit thicker, the handle is definitely comfortable, but I find it's just not as smooth a cut as the other two. But yeah, anything in the $10 to $13 range from a reputable company should do you very well, and the only thing I would recommend staying the hell away from is Bandai's baby nipper. This thing's awful, will cramp your hands, and the blades are too thick. It's for babies. Doesn't do a good job. Now if you do actually want to splash out and get the best of the best, there is no better than the God Hand SPN 120. Now this right here is a single-bladed nipper. There's a lot of single-bladed nippers out there, and basically what that means is only one side of this cuts. The other side is basically just to line it up. It's essentially like a guillotine or a knife. I exclusively use this nipper all of the time, and love it to bits, but I did not at first. First off, this can gouge your kits. It can cut in if you're not holding it correctly and damage them. The other thing is they're incredibly delicate. I've lost these little bits off the side so many times, or the spring has broken on them, or the blade will break if you cut something too thick. These are very delicate and quite expensive. If you're planning on splashing out, you're going to get beautiful cuts, but you will need a standard nipper too for a lot of jobs. And honestly, I could end the video right there. That is really all you need. Once everything's cut out, you just snap it together. Absolutely perfect. However, there might be some issues you will be having that you will want to deal with, so I'm going to talk about them a little bit more with the beginner tools that's required. But at this point, I'm getting a little bit on the hungry side, and when you're building a Japanese model kit, there isn't anything quite like Japanese treats. Tokyo Treat and Sakurako want to invite everyone to experience Japan from the comfort of their own home through their snack boxes. Sakurako is a monthly Japanese artisan snack box that supports local Japanese snack makers. Each box comes with 20 traditional, authentic, and artisan Japanese snacks, including Japanese teas and a special Japanese tableware. And this month's theme is Heart of Ishikawa. This month's box was created to raise awareness and support the ongoing recovery efforts of Noto Peninsula's communities devastated by the earthquake of 2024. Through a carefully curated collection of locally crafted snacks, they aim to bring light to their hope and resilience. Every bite tells a story of local artisans rebuilding their businesses and of a region determined to heal. Some of my favorite snacks from this month's box are these right here. These are soft and moist Earl Grey and Gorojima cakes. These yuzu senbei, these are actually sweet, not savory, and oh so yuzui, crunchy and delicious kombu arare. And my absolute favorite from the bunch are these chocolate pies. And all of these pair perfectly with this month's tea, which is the Bocha roasted tea. And lastly in here we've got these absolutely gorgeous Wajima lacquerware chopsticks. Of course, also included in here is the booklet where you can learn more about the snacks that you receive as well as the allergen information. The booklet also contains a wealth of information about Japanese culture. So if you want to get a box for yourself or for a loved one so that they can experience Japan from the comfort of their own home, then you can check out that link down there in the description, and of course, make sure to use my code. So after snipping out your parts with your nipper and you're putting things together, you might notice these little bits here and there. These are nub marks and gate marks. These just happen. Even if you've got a really good nipper, these can and will occur. So some of your nubs are going to look like this. They stick out. These are good nubs. Don't worry about these. Some of your nubs are going to look like this. They kind of are into the plastic and a little bit on the white strained looking side. These ones are bad. Maybe you need to snip a little bit further away. That's really the only way to avoid these. One tip, however, for this, you can actually just rub these with your fingernail and they'll kind of disappear. So you can do that. That's a free tool, your fingernail. However, if you do want to remove these sticky outy nubs right here, there's multiple methods. Let's go through them. First off is the way of the blade. Now there is two main kinds of these. There is the box cutter looking style like this one right here, and there's the hobby knife kind of style that looks like this. Both of these are good for different reasons, and you might find you like one more than the other. Again, there's a lot of good brands out there. For the hobby knife, the one I've been using for quite some time is this one by Dispay. Absolutely fantastic and does the job. But for me, my preferred kind of knife is this one right here. This is like a box cutter. Now, I do recommend getting one that is for hobby use. I prefer Olfa, that's my favorite brand of these. Again, inexpensive. You can get some of these for $5 or so, and then the blades are super cheap. They come in packets like these. I bought 10 packets of 10 blades of these, and I don't think I'll ever need to buy one again. I like the angle of these so you can cut nicely and comfortably. You can use these for cutting out your decals too, and it's always handy to have yourself a little bit of a hobby knife. Just remember, these are knives and blades, so you know, living the path of the blade is not without its hazards. I've got this nasty scar on my knuckle. This was very bloody. This was a lot of girly screaming involved. It flapped around all nasty like. Be careful. I kind of recommend against doing this for nubs. Enter the file. If you've got yourself a really big nub, there's nothing quite like a file to just work that down till it's nearly gone. You can get hobby files. Again, I recommend buying from hobby retailers, so you do get hobby files. They're not too harsh, but they will get the job done. If you get a good file, it will last you for life. There's also multiple shapes available, so you can work in tight areas and around corners. Brilliant. Sandpaper. Now, there's multiple ways of sanding your kits. This isn't as rough as a file, and there's multiple grits out there. You can get sanding sticks. Once again, I do recommend Dispay, they're great, or Bandai, which have very nice, simple sanding sticks. You can also get just sandpaper or sticky sandpaper that goes onto boards. There's all these sort of ways. The great thing about this compared to a file is you can go high grit to get that nub gone, medium grit to clean it up, and then fine grit in order to smooth out the surface once you're done. However, this works better on white plastics than dark plastics, which can scuff a little bit, and you do end up with a little bit of a matte look afterwards. The glass file. Now this is the expensive approach, and I do recommend getting a pricey glass file if you're getting one. The one I use is the Racer Pro by Gunpla, and it is fantastic. This is like between a file and some sandpaper. It will take your nubs away without leaving a mark at all. There also are these things right here called balancers, which will take away some of the shininess sometimes you will get from using a glass file. I've also tried a glass file from Display, fantastic too. And this is probably the fastest, easiest way to remove nubs, but be careful, it can be easy to round out edges on your kit with these if you are not careful. However, fantastic tools. So yeah, if you've got an issue with nubs, it's the blade, the file, the sandpaper, or the glass file. So you've used your nipper to cut out your kit, you've used your file, sanding sticks, or blade to clean away the nubs, but there are some other issues you might run into. Well, sometimes you might be like, oh shit, I just put two parts together that weren't meant to go together, and now they're not coming apart. You might be tempted to just shove your blade right in between the two of them and twist them apart. Don't do that. You might cut yourself and you will damage the kit. Thankfully, there exists out there simple things called parts separators. They can be as low as $2 or so if you go for Bandai's one, and there are some more expensive ones out there. I highly recommend going plastic, not metal, because metal can damage plastic. It's a handy thing to have, but not required. Until when it is, and then you'll wish you had one. Bandai's one is pretty good. You just shove it in like so and things come apart. There's lots of different parts on this to shove in here and there, and it just works. So the kit you got comes with a little bit more than plastic in it. You just got a sheet of stickers. Now if you don't know Gundam kits, some kits come with stickers to make up for colors that Bandai couldn't quite do in plastic. Some of them come with stickers for some nice decals to show some little warning symbols, logos, etc. on your kit. Now you could just peel these off with your fingers and stick them on, and that would look really bad. They'll get creased, they'll get dirty, it just won't work out. Cheap option, toothpicks. I don't have any right now, so I have nothing to show you, but these are my favorite thing to put stickers on with, mainly because stickers do not stick to the wood, which means you're able to stick them on, move the wood away, and it just works out. It's easy to line them up easily and not screw it up. I recommend toothpicks all the way. Toothpicks, they're cheap, they're around the place all the time, they're what I like to use. However, if you do want to be a little bit more precise, or if you've got what's known as water slide decals, these decals come in more higher end Gunpla kits. You need to dip them in water for a second, then line them up onto your kit and slide the decal onto them. At this point then, you're going to need some tweezers. Again, I recommend these ones from Display, but any tweezers should do as long as they've got a big old pointy end. Again, I recommend getting ones that are designed for plastic models. I personally don't like them for stickers because I find that stickers tend to stick to metal, but if you are careful enough and just use the very tippy tip of the tweezers are good for attaching stickers too. So it's always good to have a decent set of tweezers. Just make sure it has a pointy end, not one of these kind of, well, hair plucking ones with the big flat end. Don't use that. So at this point, you've used your nippers to cut out your kit, you've used your file, sanding sticks, or blade to remove the nubs, you then used your tweezers or toothpick to attach on the stickers that came included, but you still might be looking at it and thinking it's not quite finished and doesn't look as dynamic as it looks on the box. That's because more than likely, with your kit, Bandai has panel lined this thing, aka put ink into the lines of it to make the molded detail pop a little bit more. Now this is still in the realm of beginner tools in my opinion, because you can grab some markers like these. These are Gundam markers, specifically Gundam panel liners. I recommend the felt tip style. That's these ones right here. You just draw into the lines and that is it. You can get them in multiple colors. Black works well in dark colors. Some people like the high contrast of black in white. I prefer gray and white because it's not too over the top. Once they're in there, you can just rub it away with your finger and it will be beautiful. If the line isn't perfect, use a pencil eraser and it will make it super clean. These really will bring your kit from looking a little bit on the flat side to looking fantastically detailed. I do have a video specifically about panel liners, so I'm not going to get into it too much, but I do recommend the standard felt tip ones for beginners. Some of them out there can damage plastic. You can get panel line accent in a pot, but that can get a little bit messy. So if you're just starting out, I recommend the fine tip felt tip panel liners. So at this point, if you're like, that was an awful lot of information and honestly I wasn't listening too hard, what do you use so I can just copy your homework? Well, this right here is what I use. After years of building Gunpla, this is what I've boiled it down to for a simple, quick, nice, straight build. Gunpla kit, this will do perfectly. It's not the cheapest setup, but if you just flat out bought this, it'd probably end up cheaper than trial and erroring your way to, well, ending up probably right back here again. For a nipper, I use a mix of the God Hand 120 and the God Hand 125. 99% of the time, I'm using the 125. It is a pricey nipper at about $50+, but it is so good. If you treat it well, it will last a long time. This is my third one after, I would say, maybe 8 years. With the God Hand, you rarely need to do much in the lines of cleanup, but when I do, I use the Racer Pro by Gun Primer. This is a glass file that will take your nubs completely away. Be careful of overusing it because you will get some gloss shining on the part as well as some rounded edges, but it's a fantastic, ridiculously good tool. My blade of choice is this one right here. I love Olfa. This one, I had to have it. It's an Evangelion one, but if you just get one that uses a 9mm blade, it's nice. Don't get one too thick. I got this Char Aznable one, and it's not good for model kit building. It's good for cutting stuff on a cutting mat, like stickers, decals, etc., but it's too big for normal use. Go for the 9mm. It's great. I also use this for sticking on stickers. I hate tweezers. The way you have to kind of use your fingers to pinch it just kind of throws me off and it's just a pain in the hole. I hate tweezers outright. I use this or I use toothpicks to apply stickers. Preferably toothpicks, but I will use this just to hold the edge of a sticker and stick them on. When I screw up putting parts together that shouldn't go together or shouldn't go together just yet, which happens a lot of times when I'm filming and building, it's easy to kind of forget a step. Well, I use just Bandai's part separator. It's fantastic, does the job, it's by them, and it's $2.50. Worth it. When it comes to panel lining, I kind of use the felt tip one I mentioned earlier on, but usually what I use is the pour style. This one, you touch it against the side, it runs through, it's really quick. You do need to use an eraser pen, which you can buy separate or get in a set with it in order to remove the kind of goo that will be all over the place. That's why I don't think it's really beginner friendly, but you get better, crispier panel lines. So yeah, this right here is an absolutely incredible setup. It will get any kit straight built perfectly. I highly recommend it, but it can be a little bit on the expensive side at about $100+. Now, I've used this quite a few times, this right here, and people have asked me what it is. This is a set by Dispay. This can be between $28 to $40 depending on where you're looking for it, and this is a great start. Actually, if you were just to buy a one-item, one-off thing, this would do you perfectly. Dispay did send this on to me, and I use it way more than I thought I ever would. So this is a set of tools. In here you do get a single bladed nipper, so it's something akin to the God Hand. It does leave about 1mm I find when you do snip, which means it doesn't really suit me too much, but if you're the type that likes to leave a bit of nub and then sand away the remainder for a perfect nubless finish, this will do you so good. This kit also packs in a very nice hobby blade with extra blades, sanding sticks, sanding sponges, sanding boards, a glass file, a panel lining pen. Like, this is like a nibbed pen for panel lining. Some people use these. I've never actually tried it, but you can use basically whatever kind of ink you want with it. Again, can't really say much about this because I've never used it. There is a part separator in here that's like a switchblade. I just like to press the button. It's very fun. I don't use it that much because it is metal, which means it can damage parts, but I do resort to it when the plastic part separator does not work, which does happen, and you need to get the metal one out. There are also 2 tweezers included in here as well, which I use all the time for decals. So really, if you want a one-stop shop for some good tools at a decent price, this is definitely worth a look. I use a lot of the stuff out of this, so if you want to try it out, I will throw a link down there in the description. Actually, I'll throw a link to absolutely everything in this video down there in the description if you want to grab some for yourself. Once again, thank you so much to Tokyo Treat for sponsoring this video. Thank you so much to you for watching it. Hopefully it was of use. And if you are a new Gunpla builder or an experienced Gunpla builder and you feel there's something I missed or a tool or tools you find fantastic and would recommend to others, drop them down there in the comments so other people can read in case you've got some awesome suggestions. Anyway, I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Once again, I kind of finished this video right here without thanking each and every one of you guys for watching my videos. That makes absolutely everything on here possible. If you don't want to support more interesting videos or just to improve the overall quality of the channel, you can help out on the channel memberships and over on Patreon. Patreon is really what does fund any and all improvements quality-wise to this channel. So a special shout out to Abraxas, Caleb Engelhart, Joe, RG59061, ShadowWolf179, Van Fawn, and Scotty Thomas. Link to join the Patreon and the Discord down there in the description.